Welcome. Today we are reviewing a unique little oddity here. This is the Pilot Telescoping Pocket Pen, also known as the short or long short because of its unique telescoping abilities, which we will show you in a moment. So this unique little oddity came to me courtesy of Dr. Brownie on Discord as a pen to review. And it's interesting right off the bat in that it's quite small. What you will see, though, and we'll discuss that, is the uniqueness of this includes that part. See, even before the cap pops off, that little extension there. That turns what is a small pen into a very unique little thing that extends to be a full-size pen. This pen was made in the 1960s. In fact, my research led me to believe that this one was probably pre-1967 because of the flat top here. So the way to actually determine that is it's on the nib itself. It's actually the year that it's produced is on the nib. During a full disassembly, you can find that out. The outer body is a stainless steel here and some sort of plastic or resin on this side, and then on the extension component that leads and sheaths the nib. So we've got like stainless steel here, plastic resin there. The clip itself is okay. It says Pilot on it. I'll show you that if you can see it. It says Pilot on it, so that's engraved. Nice little brand identifier. It's thin. It's okay on thin fabric, but it didn't clip well to my outer pocket, like my main pocket on my pens, because they're reinforced for different, other things I clip there daily, like pens and pocket knives and flashlights. So this was a little bit more of an office clip. It didn't clip as well to my regular pants. It clipped very well to thinner fabric. This clip is okay. It's not the greatest, but it'll do. Let's move on. Let's look under the hood. Wow, there it comes. All right, so that's what changes this pen, right? This pen, in the 60s, this was very futuristic design, right? And so not only the streamlined kind of stainless steel look here, but, the fact that it extends, that's a very cool, unique thing. And let's go back to sizing and show you why. So when you go back from when this was released in the 1960s, if you go back to the previous generation of people using fountain pens, they had what was called a vest size model. And here's an example. This is a 1918 Wall. So this is a vest sized pen. So this is more akin back when people would wear, obviously, vests. They would want to put this hanging up in their vest, which meant it wasn't like a pocket. It didn't have as much room. So you needed smaller, more concise pens. So what these were designed to do usually is they would post very well. So once you posted it, it would be a nice, almost akin to a full-size pen. Now, that's what they're emulating here, okay? Now, so much so I'm going to even cap this and show you again, okay? Now, look at the size comparisons here, right? There you go. So the size is almost identical. The newer one's a hair longer, but that's what I mean by it's like a older school vest size mini pocket pen. This part is all light, so this really helps in moving the center of balance right to about the midpoint, just past it because of the metal on this side, resin on this side. So the balance is just past the midpoint, which actually really feels nice in hand. The gold nib, and that's what we should say, a gold nib 14 karat, is very nice. It's very bouncy. So this is a very nice, this one's a fine, but it's actually the first and only fine I've really enjoyed. Actually, you know what, Aaron from Joe and Pens and Paper showed me one fine that flowed very nicely and didn't have feedback, and so there are definitely good pens out there, but I'm generally not a person that has fines. But this was a nice, juicy, wet fine, and with that gold nib, it's very bouncy. Let me show you on something. There we go. Where can you guys see? There you go. Do you see that bounce in the nib there? It's very nice. It's not scratchy. It doesn't have a lot of feedback at all. So this is a fine that I could actually live with. The feed itself is very cool too, because look at that. It's very like futuristic, slanted designs. So it goes very well with the aesthetics of this. Keep in mind, this is made in the 1960s in Japan, so this is very, akin to that. Also, one person called this a James Bond pen too. I showed them this, and when, I mentioned, you know, how it telescoped out. They were like, oh, it's like a James Bond pen. And I actually kind of like that because, again, the 60s, this is a really cool, unique design. All right, so let's move on to even more into under the hood here. So one unique thing here is because this component twists freely, independent of the rest of the body up here, you can't get to the converter until you cap it. And when you cap it, and you need to cap it securely, you can kind of hear that band clipping in here. So you need to cap it securely. The cap grips the body section, so if you put a little bit of pressure, you can start to twist that and get to the converter. So that's a cool, unique, thoughtful design there. On the inside here, you can see that there's also that same, looks like a one piece of the plastic resin there. So there is resin under the metal too, or plastic under the metal. I was using Sailor Man Yokonagi, but as you can see, this has a converter on the inside. So that's another really cool, nifty feature, that it has a nice, reliable converter. Conclusions. I really enjoyed this pen. I didn't really care for it at first, like when I first got it, you know, it's not something I would actually pursue had I have not been given the chance to review this pen independently, right? So it's too small. When I look at this, I would think, oh, it's too small. I mean, it's kind of gimmicky. I mean, whatever. I don't even care for fines, but you know, where fines shine, and as I've come to realize, you know, when you're using planners and you need very precise writing, your writing boxes are very small and constricted, having a fine pen on you is very nice. So, you know, in that sense, I'm going to actually keep this with my journal because it is on sale, and I think I am going to end up buying this from Brownie. Like I said, I would not have sought this out independently, but now that I've used it, it's a nifty little thing, right? So it's got that pocket size, it's got that very small, petite, like vest size, but then it's streamlined. It's very 1960s, right? It's James Bond, as that person said. And it caps and posts in very well, right? And then that brings the balance. When it telescopes, the balance comes up here, and that's way nicer than with a shorter pen. The semi-hooded sheathed nib is also very awesome and bouncy, being gold. I haven't seen one quite that bouncy in a fine point like that. I love that feed. Eventually, if I do disassemble this, I'll see the year, because the exact year of production is on the sheath side of the nib. This is a fun writer too. Like I said, I don't normally care for fines, but this one had very little feedback, probably because of the bounciness of the gold nib. But this is going to be a nice addition to the collection, also in that it is a vintage, because, you know, 1960s, how cool is that? Probably before, you know, 1967. So this represents almost a decade of thought and concepts and design for me as well. So thank you guys very much for watching this review of the Pilot Long Short Telescoping Pocket Pen.